Good evening and welcome to Scoreboard. My name is Jeff Mogire. This evening we have a special guest from the Ministry of Sport, the new sheriff in town, Ababu Namwamba, the man who has come into office 33 days in the office. Already we can see what he has done. This national team, Shujaa, has been supported alongside Lionesses to go for the World Rugby Series in Dubai and Cape Town. The allowances have already been submitted and the players are happy. National teams are really happy so far, specifically the football, where we talk about the suspension by FIFA has been lifted. What a way of starting work. Within 33 days, Waziri, you've been in office. Good evening and welcome to the show. This is the first time you're gracing this show, and I hope it's going to be a great show for you tonight.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm told, I am meant to understand that today is day 1 of year 2 of this show. So I'm your first guest as you start the second year of the show. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Nice. Waziri, within 33 days in office, how has it been like?
Roller coaster. It has been quite a month because walk into office and found quite a pile of must-do right now issues that need a resolution, from the ban on football, the threat of doping, and the threat of being banned by World Athletics over doping, the crisis with rugby, the swimming federation, badminton, they are all banned. So yeah, it has been quite a month of dealing with a lot of challenges. But it's been good because we get the opportunity to serve Kenyans in these positions so that we can find solutions to these challenges. Yeah.
We asked so many questions so far, but let's take a look at the social media, what people are saying. Ask them, what do you want the sports ministry to do for you in its office, in these 100 days in office? So we're asking you to share your thoughts as well on KTN News at KTN News KE, at Mogire Jeff, at KChage _ sports, and also at Beryl Ringles, and also at Bungay Wilfred. We're asking you a simple question. What do you want the sports CS to do in 100 days in office? Some of them are here, and Man of Culture is responding. They are saying conducive environment for sports investors, modernizing of training facilities. Waziri, I remember a few days ago you said we have very old facilities which needs to be refurbished and look better. And others are saying enact a talent scouting body in the field of game. We've talked about sports academy, which is a shell. Now, Waziri, before we go into you answering those questions, I have a question for you. In 2012, 2013, you were the helm of the Ministry of Sports. You came out with the Sports Act. So many federations have not adhered to this Sports Act. Why is it difficult?
I believe it is indicative of a rather bad culture of disobedience to the rule of law. And it's also indicative of a habit of disorder, management by crisis. And I believe there are some organizations or federations which benefit from that disorder, and so afraid that if you institute order, then you stop the tap of their benefits. But it must be done, and that is why you'll have noticed that within the first month of me coming into office, I convened a meeting of federations, and the purpose of that meeting was really to take stock of where sports is generally. And all the federations stand up. I must give them credit for that. We had a candid conversation, and we drew resolutions from our discussions, and then we appended our signatures to those resolutions. Among those resolutions is that we are going to run sports in accordance with the rule of law. We are going to be transparent, we are going to be accountable, and we are going to be orderly in the way we conduct our affairs. And above all, The player, the sportsman is the king, is the queen. And we must do everything to ensure that the welfare of the player is upheld. When a federation fails to enlist under the Sports Act, whose interests are you serving? If a federation has officials who want to stick in office forever, whose interests are you serving? And if, as a Kenyan, you expect, for instance, the president to serve in office for 10 years and no more, you expect term limits to be respected, you expect frequent, credible, timely elections. Why wouldn't you want the same for the federation that you run? They say what is good for the goose must be good for the gander. And so if we expect an orderly society, it must be a society that lives within the tenets of the rule of law. And I am determined to ensure that we follow the law, we enforce the Sports Act, and we bring order into sports. Only then will we achieve some of the issues like what I've seen on the screen, where Kenyans are saying they want sports run as an industry, sports run in an orderly manner, sports run in a manner that is beneficial to the country. We can't do that if we are doing it, we are operating like we exist in the jungle.
The jungle, yeah.
It's either the rule of law or the rule of the jungle, and we know what happens in the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's listen into what Sebastian Coe had to say about sparing Kenya this suspension. Listen in first.
Government has confirmed its agreement to add a further $5 million US dollars over 5 million a year over 5 years. This will fund more people, more tests, more investigations, and certainly bolster the already comprehensive education programs. The Athletics Integrity Unit will continue to work closely with Kenya to implement the plan and to help with communicating the processes or progress and achievements. Building back trust will be a long journey. This has been, I know that the Kenyan Federation and Kenyan government feels this has been a disfiguring period in what should have been a Herculean period for Kenyan athletics. But I'm really delighted because actually all the stakeholders that matter both domestically and internationally are now aligned in coming together to really do everything we can to resolve this.
Waziri, you wrote that letter to World Athletics asking them to give you time and showing course of what exactly you can do to end this doping menace. How did you exactly convince them? What did you tell them to spare us?
First of all, let me thank Lord Sebastian Coe, President of World Athletics Council, and World Athletics as a whole, for listening to the government of Kenya, listening to Athletics Kenya, and most significantly, responding positively to my communication with them. I wrote to Lord Sebastian Coe to sort of provide a framework of what government is doing and what government plans to do. And he makes reference to my communication with him in terms of the plan. And he says, to quote him, that all stakeholders, both domestically and internationally, are aligned in terms of our thinking. And I think that was the key to unlocking this threat. The key in the sense that we have been very candid with World Athletics. We have been very honest. We have been open. We have not denied the fact that doping has reached crisis levels in Kenya. We have not run away from the fact that this is a big challenge and a major threat. But having acknowledged that challenge, I also stressed two important factors to the World Athletics Council. Number one, I made it clear that unlike in jurisdictions where the World Athletics Council has previously enforced a ban, the doping situation in Kenya is not state-sponsored. It is not the government of Kenya. It's not the authorities in Kenya. It is not Athletics Kenya that is actively supporting or condoning doping. To the contrary, government in Kenya is firmly anti-doping in our posture. In fact, the position of the government of Kenya is zero tolerance to doping. Athletics Kenya, as the body responsible for athletics, has also been very firm, very clear, and we are working with them very closely. Our position that doping is not state-sponsored and that doping is a problem, but that we need to invest in the war. Kenya banned from athletics does not aid the war against doping. In fact, it undermines Kenya's position. It undermines Kenya's capabilities in fighting doping. I went a step further to commit resources. And this is important because we need major resources, we need big resources to invest in this war. And the government has committed a total of $25 million over a period of 5 years. That is about 3 billion Kenya shillings to confront the scourge of doping head on. And that is significant resources that we have committed to this. And so I told the council, what Kenya needs really is not to be punished. What Kenya needs is to be supported, is to be appreciated in the manner in which we are fighting these menace. And I'm glad that the council has agreed with me. The council has agreed with us and Athletics Kenya. Even before the decision that the council made, I had received communication from Lord Sebastian Coe, who responded to my letter to him. He wrote back to me, and in that communication, we were pretty much aligned, as he acknowledges in the press conference. And so, yes, I believe that it's a good decision. It's a progressive decision, but I wouldn't say that Kenya is entirely off the hook. We remain on the watch list, and a lot now depends on how we deploy a firm, decisive, comprehensive, and substantive action plan to end this menace.
Was there these people, these criminals, I can call them, these people are aiding, these culprits who are aiding doping in this country, they are known. You made a step in terms of getting them to answer for that, because on Sunday, somebody by the name Kiprotich was arrested, arraigned on Monday, and the case continues. Why is it so difficult to get these people? Because these athletes, they're not doing this alone.
First of all, let me assure you that we are dead serious in this war. We are so serious because, athletics is serious business. Athletics is Kenya's flagship export. I do believe that Kenya does not export anything more premium than our athletics brand. It is our athletics brand that has made Kenya best or better known across the world than anything else, than our beaches, than our amazing flora and fauna, the wildlife, than our tea and coffee, than our tourism. Our athletics brand is a premium brand in terms of positioning Kenya globally. We cannot allow anybody to threaten that or to put that at risk. And remember, this brand has been built by men and women through history, all the way from the late Wilson Chumo Kiprugut, the gentleman that won Kenya's first ever medal at the Olympics, Kipchoge Keino, great names really through history, Catherine Dereba, Tekla Lorupe, Paul Targat, David Rudisha, all the way to the current generation of great athletes. They have invested so much in building a beautiful, enduring brand of a country that prides itself for competing and winning clean. Now we cannot allow a few unscrupulous people to come along out of their greed, besmirch that reputation and want to destroy that heritage, that legacy. And we know that this whole thing is not an individual doing it, it's a syndicate. We believe that it's a syndicate that involves agents, coaches, doctors, some athletes, and it is that syndicate that we are determined to crack. You are right that a suspect has already been arraigned in court, but that is only tip of the iceberg. In the next week or so, we'll be putting together a solid multi-agency, multi-faceted framework on how we are going to confront this challenge within the setup that we have agreed with World Athletics. I am confident that we'll win this war because we cannot afford to lose this war. We cannot afford to lose athletics to these crooks.
It will be a shame for the country as well.
Absolutely.
Looking at it. So now, the World Athletics Board is meeting on Friday, that's tomorrow, and the first top on the agenda is whether to get Kenya off the watch list or not. What do you think might happen?
It would be great to get Kenya off the watch list. I would particularly be elated. I would be happy. I would be the happiest sports minister in the world if Kenya was removed from category A. Because, in that category A, we are not in very good company.
The Russia.
That category A is not... That's not the company that I would want Kenya to keep. We don't belong in that company. We are a fine country. We are a country of good people. We are a country of sportsmen and women that compete clean. We believe in the Abraham Lincoln mantra of I'd rather lose honorably than cheat. And so Friday, tomorrow, fingers crossed, it would be great to be removed from that category A. But even if we are not, the decision yesterday is a good springboard for us to really have fresh impetus. Actually, it has given us a lot of energy to now confront this challenge viciously, because we know if by the next council meeting next year at such a time we are still in the same situation, I believe the council will not be soft on Kenya at all.
So now, 3 days to the World Championship next year in Hungary. The World Athletics will be holding their elections. 3 days too. And Sebastian Coe wants to be re-elected. If he really wants to be re-elected, at the end of the day, he will need the 54 votes. This is getting now political a little bit from where we've been before. Now it's getting political. If he gets rid of Kenya in terms of a ban, he might as well miss the 54 votes. But he has to retain Kenya for him to get the 54 votes, for him to be re-elected. Looking at that from that perspective, what do you make of this, the entire situation? Because so many people want
you're stretching it. You're stretching it. I believe I don't want to get into the politics of World Athletics. I'm not a voter. I'm not a voter in that contest. But I believe that this matter is so serious. It goes beyond the politics of World Athletics. For me, this is not even about World Athletics. This is about Kenya. This is about who we are. This is about the image we have built painstakingly over the years, since 1964, when Kiprugut won that first medal at the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. We have built this phenomenal image. I mean, even when you are riding in a cab on the streets of Bali in Indonesia, or Reykjavik in Iceland, okay, or LA in USA, the moment you say Kenya, say, oh, you are the great runners. In fact, everybody asks, do you run? What distance do you run? Anytime any foreigner meets you, they imagine every Kenyan is a runner. And so athletics is us. Athletics is our image, is our profile, is our pride. And so for me, this goes beyond any short-term issues like politics. This is about brand Kenya, and we must protect brand Kenya by all means.
Let's now listen into Samson Cherargei Kiprotich, Senator for Nandi. He has something to say about this, and he talks about the DCI and DPP getting involved here. It's something you've said before, but let's listen in before it comes to you.
What we are requesting is that let not only athlete be punished, or a sportsman or woman, let also the person, the nurse who participated in administrating that drug, license be suspended, and also criminal proceedings be begun by DCI and DPP. Let also team managers, team coaches, training camps, and also foreign coaches that come into country, proper vetting must be done. Because why is a coach that comes from abroad having a tourism visa training our sportsmen and women across the country? And Bito can tell you he has worked across the region and across the world. You cannot just walk into a country and start training at the sportsmen and women. Because at the end of the day, this is our resource. Kenya is known only for one thing, for sports that we pride in, from athletics, football, volleyball, and many other sports disciplines. So and I want to appeal to DCI and DPP. The ADAC has moved its report. Can the DCI and DPP go ahead and investigate where is the source of these drugs?
Waziri, you said before that you want to criminalize doping to be like drug trafficking, and you said you're drafting something to take you to parliament to be passed. Then you can use this to ensure that there's no doping in the country. But looking at this from another side of it, even though Kiprotich supports you in this war, he says it should be criminalized. WADA doesn't really work with criminalizing it. They're against it. What if you take this draft of yours ahead and WADA shoots it down? Because they feel it's double punishment.
First of all, I want to thank Senator Cherargei. What the language he's speaking is exactly mirrors the position that we do hold. Number one, that this is a syndicate that involves so many people, so many interests, and we want to tighten the noose and seal all the loopholes that could be giving avenue or providing avenue to perpetrators of this scourge. We want to tighten this whole arrangement of agents, foreign coaches, foreign managers, doctors. That whole space is a bit too loose as it is right now, and we are definitely going to tighten that space. Criminalizing doping. I'm a lawyer. I understand pretty much that in law, one of the key principles in law is what we call double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is where you should not be punished twice for the same offense. And so WADA's position is that if WADA bans you 4 years, they have found you culpable, so they ban you for 4 years. The argument is you shouldn't again be loaded with a criminal trial, which perhaps could send you to jail for whatever length of a custodial sentence. But we want to have a conversation with WADA. We want WADA to also see our way of thinking. We may not necessarily send the athletics to jail, but we may go after the perpetrators, because when an athlete dopes, that athlete is not alone. That athlete is aided. The offense is, or the misdemeanor or whatever you call it, is aided and abetted by a number of interests. We want to dismantle all these interests. In fact, you may want to know, by the way, that in very many cases, some of our athletes who dope may not even know what is happening. They get into that thing without realizing what has hit them. Some are very young. Like now, our youngest gold medal winner, I think this was in Cali. This girl, Faith Cherotich, I believe, is 17 years old. She's in Form 3. If you take a girl like that, she's not really exposed. You may even lie to her that you're giving her a normal medicine. For it could be a simple condition like whatever. It could be a headache, and it turns out to be a banned substance. So we want to put all these factors into consideration and take appropriate action. Bottom line, we will engage all stakeholders, including WADA, so that we can arrive at a consensual position.
Consider this is somehow personal, somehow it doesn't really make sense to me, but I have to say it the way it is. Journalists, the media, and federations, they have led us to where we are right now in terms of athletics and all the sports across the country. In the previous regimes, it was so difficult for me to access, or for any journalist to access, the Ministry of Sports, because there are cartels across, from the federation to the media. It was so difficult for one to access the Minister for Sports, but at least I can access you now.
Are you saying there were cartels in the Ministry of Sports?
Of course there are, and they are led by journalists, by the way.
Journalist cartels?
Yes.
So the cartels are in the media.
You're from federations to the media as well. So how are you going to work with this to ensure that you work with the media to support sports, to ensure that this premium that you want to sell is covered across board? It's not like a clique of journalists who are leading it, because at the end of the day they end up lying to you that this is how things are, but on the other side they're wrong.
Open door policy. Open door policy is my policy. You can ask even my aides that are here with me. They'll tell you that you can walk into my office anytime. I am always surrounded by issues and people, and I believe the media is such a crucial partner in developing sports. We want to turn sports into a mega industry. The media is key in driving that agenda. I'm just about to launch a mega project called Talanta Hela, which is about supporting, developing, and marketing our talent. How am I going to do that without partnership of the media? So I need the media. Government needs the media. And there is absolutely no reason why I should build a wall, build a ring of fire around myself. I want to listen to the media. By listening to the media, I pick so many useful issues that I may not be privy to. And so please take advantage of my open door policy. And if you know of any cartel in the ministry, please give me a tip. Tip me off. Tip me off so that we can dismantle the cartels. And if there are any cartels in the media, I will be useful. I will be available to help you to, because really cartels are not useful. Cartels in this country have a bad history. They destroy institutions. They undermine the rule of law. They undermine transparency and accountability. So we really have every reason to dismantle cartels and work transparently. I am here. You can ask me anything. I am human. I'll make mistakes along the way as we move along the way. I am ready to listen, to be corrected when I miss a step. I have no problem being called to account. And to do that, you need to be open and available. And I'm absolutely open and available.
We talk about the sports fund. The report that they wrote at the sports fund is so deep, and it runs so deep that at least probably I'm told that you're trying to clean up the issue and get off this mess. The sports fund was set for the sports fund, but all of a sudden, over the previous regime, it was shifted from the sports. I think the sports gets a quarter, and the 3 quarters goes to the health docket. And this money comes from the betting funds and all those people doing sports around it. Why is this money going to the health docket and not helping the sports men and women who are suffering, like you helped recently the national rugby team, Shujas and Lionesses?
You know, the sports fund grew out of the desire to get resources into sports so that we will be able to take better care of our sportsmen and women, invest in infrastructure. One of the issues that one of the Kenyans watching us has shared at the beginning of this show is investing in infrastructure to improve our infrastructure. The Sports Fund was supposed to help us with such tasks. And you'll recall that I was Minister for Sports when the Sports Act was enacted. I actually moved the bill on the floor of Parliament myself. And we created a fund in that bill, in that act. And the desire at that time, as I drafted that law in 2012, 2013, was really to have a fund that would be dedicated to sports. After I left the ministry, between the time I left the ministry and now as I returned to the ministry, the Sports Fund somehow evolved and metamorphosed into something completely different. It mutated, actually the right English word is mutation. It mutated from one form to another form that is completely unrecognizable. How someone somewhere decided that 65% of this fund, sports fund, would become a fund for healthcare, I mean, it boggles my mind. And it is something which we are revisiting because we believe that sports is still grossly underfunded in this country. Sports and the arts even worse. Right now, I'm also Minister for the Arts. I'm also Minister for Music, for Film, for Fine Art, for Theatre. All those things now fall under the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts. And those are areas which are very poorly funded. And so the Sports and Arts Fund should really be dedicated to supporting that space. Thespians need better theaters. Musicians need better recording studios. The film industry needs Kenya to be upgraded to an international film destination. Our sporting facilities are at a level where today I was engaging with the General Secretary of FKF, Barry Otieno, and he told me that if we were to get a CAF game today, none of our stadia would be permitted to host a CAF game because like Nyayo Stadium does not have floodlights. Kasarani Stadium has issues with pitches. The seats are not serialized, they're not numbered, which now is a requirement for CAF. So you cannot deny resources to sports to sort such glaring missing links in sports and divert those funds. So those are issues that need to be sorted out. There have been serious issues there. One of the issues is actual governance. It's incredible, really. It's mind-boggling that you have had a CEO in acting capacity for so many years. You have had a fund with no substantive chair of the board for so many years. A situation, serious governance issues, serious accountability issues, and those are issues that are definitely require urgent attention. And we are moving with speed to try and seal those loopholes, cure the governance misdemeanors and misadventures so that we can get the fund running properly and being useful to sports people.
Like the way you mentioned it, misdemeanors and
misadventures. Yeah.
So we will take a short break. When we come back, Wazir will tell us why is Moses Kuria speaking on its behalf. AFCON, Africa Cup of Nations, to be hosted within the Eastern African countries, but Moses Kuria is the one coming out to speak about it. Why? Take a short break, come back after a short period of time.